I'd like to call the meeting of Jersey Shore Area Board to order for Monday, July 22nd, 2024. I don't like this, but I'll put it on. Could I have a roll call vote, please, Mr. Enders?
Mr. Allen.
Present.
Mrs. Kelly.
Here.
Ms. Edwards.
Here.
Mr. McDonald.
Here.
Ms. Peters.
Here.
Berman.
Here.
Mrs. Thomas.
Here.
Mrs. Stemler. Greenberg.
Here.
Present, one absent.
Have a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I just need a motion for these and to approve these minutes. Okay, need a motion for approval of the minutes for July 22nd meeting. All right, guys, I'm sorry, for June 10th through June 24th. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passed. I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report for June, treasurer's report, investment report, and the board summary report, all of June.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor of the treasurer's report?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passed. Approval of bills in the amount of $4,486,973.43. Motion to approve.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We didn't even give Ben a chance to tell us what he has to tell us.
I did.
Because that's a little
I'm
high.
sorry, I'm new to this. I did have a question on Ben, but go ahead.
So
one.
yes, the bills are a little high. Couple items in our general fund payments. We do our employer contribution to employees' HSA payments on July 1st, but we had to send them the money in June in order for it to be in their accounts by July 1st. So that was just over $250,000. We did a purchase with grant funds for approximately 1,200 iPads to Apple. That was just under $143,000. Sugar Valley's June tuition bill was $111,910.04. And what drove up the cost of the bills was our quarterly Peasers payment was $1,426,944.51. That's the district's portion for required payment for Peasers, contributions for the quarter.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Enders. We had a motion that was approved, right? Okay, presentations, communications.
I have nothing under communication.
Okay, President's report. I'd like to report that we had a brief executive session before this meeting to discuss legal matters. Okay, board representatives, committee reports. Anyone? I have something, I guess, from the Building and Grounds Committee. With Mr. Allen, Mr. Furman, myself, Mr. Wall, and Mr. Hollick met out at Avis. We didn't walk through the land, but we did take a look at it, and we have an idea where the lots would eventually be. We spent most of the time inside the building, and I believe you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but Mr. Hollick presented us with a map on the right side of the Davis School where the woods are, and the other side of that woods is the development that was put there before. And he more or less divided them off into 4 lots ranging from anywhere, I'm gonna say 5 acres up to somewhere around a little over 8 acres, something like that. And then we come up later on, maybe instead of giving away 5 to 6, 7, 8 acres, we talked about maybe dividing, instead of 4 lots, maybe 5 lots, and making them all equal of 3 to 4 acres. So Mr. Wall is going to look into some things there. I think he did look into the septic system, the sewer system, and we are able to hook onto the borough sewer system if the elevation is correct. In other words, if it will gravity feed down into their lines, we can hook onto it. The water would have to be probably wells. So Mr. Wall, I believe, is still looking into a real estate agent that will give us more or less a kind of a round figure of a price on what these lots might sell for. So I guess what we're going to do is kind of going to wait till he gets us some information, and once he gets us the information here, maybe have a meeting with the building and grounds, discuss all the information that we have, bring it back to the board, is what I'm thinking, as a discussion item, present the information and discuss it amongst the board. And if we're all okay with moving forward in a certain manner, however we want to do it, maybe put it on the next agenda for board approval, whatever we want to do. So that's kind of the game plan. Mike?
Yes.
Okay?
That's right.
Okay with that? Okay, moving on, superintendent's report.
I'm gonna start by pointing out a number of policies. We recently received a group of policies from PSBA's containing legal edits. Those are listed there on the agenda. They're attached. They are in red lines so you can see what was changed. All of those are legal edits with the exception of policy 008, the organizational chart. After we redid that last time to add the CTE director, we sent it out to staff and discovered there was another position that was missed. So that our student data coordinator was never on our organizational chart, so it is now after this presentation. Take a look at those policies. There are a number of them there. Pay attention to the green and the yellow. Green is added, or green and red. Green is added, red is deleted. All of those are PSBA legal edits. And tonight I want to talk about letter B, program called Bloomerang. I did attach a quote. Mrs. Calhoun and Mr. McDonald and I saw a presentation to the Capital Campaign Committee. The idea of this is basically a donor database. We would use it to interact with donors. It will allow us to take and account for donations and can take donations electronically through the system. We would be able to link directly to a web page and take donations. We actually approached the foundation. Mrs. Calhoun and I had a meeting with the foundation board because they've been having similar conversations about tracking their donors, taking electronic payments, being able to send out newsletters and emails and things like that, which the system will allow and will support. And they have asked us if we would take this to the board. They would bear 50% of the cost. Year one cost is $3,000. That includes the setup and activation fee. Subsequent years are lower because once we pay that setup fee, we don't have it in the future. I think an annual fee after that is like $2,200, but the year one fee is $3,000 because there's an $800 setup fee. So the purpose of it being on here tonight is to explain to the board, the quote is attached. We have Mr. McDonald, Mrs. Calhoun, and I have all seen it. We've reviewed it with the foundation board. They have not yet gone to their full board. We met with their exec board about supporting it. They would have to take it to their full board, which would be one of the conditions as well. But what we would like to do is put it on a future agenda for a vote and ask the board to pay for half. And that would be contingent upon taking it to the foundation doesn't meet until after our next meeting. So we would ask to put it on the August 12th agenda. Questions from the board?
So it's asking the board for,
$1,500 in year one, about $1,100 after that, and it would be split with the foundation.
So is there a management thing to it, or the program itself will kind of like manage itself?
No, the foundation and us would have access to do the interaction with the system. They're not managing it.
Okay, okay.
They'll split the cost with us long-term or just first year?
Yes.
Long-term. Okay, thank you.
Anything you want to add to that? Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, that's my report.
Okay, thank you. All right, under personnel.
Have courtesy
Oh, I'm
for her.
sorry, I skipped that, nobody signed. Courtesy of the floor, for the, anything on the agenda? There's no one signed up for it.
I didn't sign up for it. What happened here?
For the agenda items? Okay.
Ray Beerley, Pyatt Township. It's not, I was looking for an agenda item and I don't see it here. And I just wanted to double check. I expected to see an agenda item addressing the upcoming hearing where you would provide information to the public about the nature of this hearing, how it was going to be conducted, what the role of the public is in this hearing. That's what we did the last time we had a hearing, but I don't see that. You're not going to talk about that tonight?
Do you have any comment on that?
Not on the agenda.
It's not, just not on the agenda yet, but it's be a public hearing there, same as previous hearings. All the information will be given at that time to the board members and to the public.
But a lot of people haven't experienced a hearing before, so you're not going to let them know exactly how this all plays out and what they need to do and what they need to be prepared to do that have never gone through this before?
I guess just show up and voice their opinion one way or the other. Correct? I mean, that's all. I mean, it's not on the agenda yet, so it probably won't be on the agenda till we
Well,
have
it's
that
scheduled.
meeting, that hearing.
It's already scheduled, the hearing.
Pardon me?
The hearing's already scheduled, right? August 5th?
Right.
And there's not a meeting between now and then.
No, no meeting till then.
So it's just a,
Just show up. Voice
Really?
your opinion. Like I say, I mean, it's scheduled for August.
that's interesting, coming from a body that supports education and transparency, and we're going to keep it all a
I
big
mean,
secret.
I
till
don't know
people
what you
show
want me
up.
to say, Ray. I don't know anything else about it, and the meeting's scheduled,
Well, you asked
all the
for it, didn't you?
information.
Didn't you ask for the hearing?
Pardon me?
Didn't you ask for a hearing some months
I
ago?
absolutely did.
It's not a question and answer. I think
Okay.
you've already addressed that it's not on the agenda, that there's a meeting on August 5th. It'll be posted and advertised, I presume.
It is posted on the website.
It's been posted and advertised.
Right.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you. Anyone else on the agenda items? Okay, we'll move on to personnel then. We're going to, I'm going to need a motion. We're going to,
You need a motion on them all first.
all first?
Yes.
Okay, I need a motion on letter A,
No, a motion on
A through,
HH.
okay, I'll just say on personnel then, not A through whatever.
So moved.
Second.
so now,
I need,
any questions or comments?
any questions, comments on those?
We'll take a vote on.
I have a question. Can you,
You're gonna pull those two.
what the,
those are in the last contract. We added a stipend for second-year mentors.
No, I'm sorry,
BB, I'm sorry. Yeah, so
Sorry.
that is the Safe to Say Something system is a you're legally required to have a team that answers hotline tips 24/7. So if someone goes into the Safe to Say website or app and submits an anonymous tip, if they say it's a student in the Jersey Shore Area School District,
Right.
and it gets routed to us,
Right.
we have to have people on call 24/7 to answer those tips. We typically have an elementary, a middle school, and a high school person, and we rotate them every year because it's a lot. I mean, I don't say a lot of tips, but it's a lot for that person to have to do that regularly. I have been on those teams before, and typically what happens is you'll get the phone call if it's what they call life safety, someone's in danger. You get a phone call directly from the state office, and you have to go in and provide contact information so the police or law enforcement can reach out to the family or go directly to the home.
Okay, so it's for your time that you.
It's part of Act 93.
Yep, and it is yes.
Not the program itself.
Nope, and it is part of the Act 93 agreement. That's listed in there.
All right.
I have a question. With personnel and a transfer within the district, is there any policy that is in place so that a person transferring does not lose money or compensation from one position to the other? So say a person is at one position, makes a certain amount, gets transferred to another, bids into or interviews into another position, but then it ends up losing money by
So
transferring?
they
Like-
could, depending on I've not forced anyone to do that, but there have been times when people have requested that. For example, but in your non-contractual special ed aides get paid more than a regular ed aide, like a library, a title, something along those lines. Those are usually requests that people make. Like they were maybe in life skills and said, I'd rather be in library. They are gonna get paid less, and we make sure they know that up front because when you transfer them, the pay rate is different. I know we have one of those on the agenda tonight, and we made very clear up front, like, are you sure you understand this is what that means?
Okay, I just wanted to.
Any other questions? Okay, we will now take a vote on letters A through Y and BB through HH. A through Y and BB through HH, excluding Z and AA. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll now take a vote on Z and AA. All those in favor of Z and AA? Say aye. All those,
Aye.
Yeah, aye.
Aye. Sorry, I thought we were gonna do it.
you gonna do them separate? I just told you to do them together.
It's because
Yep,
there's
okay.
a transfer component, so we have to vote on them jointly
Okay,
together.
thank you, Chris. Aye.
Okay, all those in favor of Z and AA, we'll go through it again.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Takes care of personnel, right?
Correct.
Okay, curriculum and instruction.
Before you move on to there, I'm sorry, I would like to recognize, because he's here with us, Mr. Dan Larson is our new CTE auto shop teacher.
Okay, nothing on curriculum instruction?
Nope.
Building and grounds, I have nothing to report there, but we do have the purchase of a 2020 Doosan forklift. I think it's probably propane operated for $19,000 from Bestline. I evidently it's a used machine.
It is used, if you recall, we did discuss that through the budget process. This is less than what you budgeted. We budgeted more than that. We got one that we can use for less than what we budgeted.
Need a motion to approve?
So moved. Second then. Mike did
Second,
first.
Mary?
Mike did first.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Finance. Need a motion to approve A through C.
Second.
Second. Any questions?
On letter C, how's that determined? You just can't reach them anymore, basically? The
We said-
technology exonerations.
We send multiple notices. Go ahead, Mike.
They ultimately get turned over to the district debt collector. They make attempts to collect it, and then they notify us if, or,
Okay,
this one was submitted.
thank you.
Can you explain what letter A is?
A is from the, county. It's, I'll turn this.
So, yeah, so what happens if a property goes up for tax sale, but it does not sell at the tax sale? And if it ultimately goes to a judicial sale from there, it doesn't sell, then it goes on the repository, which means that everything's been wiped clean of the debts or liens on the property, and it just sits out there for somebody to potentially purchase. Usually those properties are in such poor condition on the repository list, nobody wants to do, which is why they weren't purchased at one of the sales.
This is actually land. There's nothing on it. We've researched it.
How many acres, do you know?
I don't know. I don't remember, but I know we looked into it. It was just land.
All right. Yes, it is. Any other questions on finance there? All those in favor of approving A,
Aye.
B, and C?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Miscellaneous. Any motion to approve A through H?
No, there's more on the next page.
Next page.
I didn't see any on there. I skipped,
A to
I
M.
grabbed 2 pages together. God.
M.
A through M. You have a motion to approve A through M?
So moved.
Mary, second.
Second.
Any questions? My question on now, motion to, the program $100 donation for the shed, was that built by the CTE program and?
Yes. So it was. It's been there. We were trying to get rid of it. Took a donation for it.
Okay, it's been there for a long time, just
Yeah.
get rid of it, get it out of the way.
Yep.
What is M?
That is our camera license, camera, door fobs, door alarms. We have had that service in place. You have actually been paying annually. That, I'm trying to remember, it was before I got here. You were asking me about that today. It was approved initially, a 5-year agreement by the board prior to me coming here. And at that point, the board wanted to pay annually. And the only way to do that was to finance it through the company. What we have on the agenda tonight is you have had it annually in the technology budget. So we intend to keep it annually in the technology budget, but if we pay for it up front, we don't have to finance it. I'll give you an example. This 10-year agreement, although it's costing you $536,000, an annual one, if we would go to them and say, we want to pay every year, we want a 1-year license, Next year's, the next 1-year license is $64,000. So you can quickly do the math and see what it would cost you over 10 years if you didn't pay for it up front. So essentially what, and Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, we're gonna pay for it and put the money back annually out of the tech budget into reserve. There is also, we're doing this in advance because we know from our rep that there is a price increase coming. That we want to get this locked in before that 64,000 annually becomes even more.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor of approving A through M?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carried. Miscellaneous. Old business. Nothing to discuss there. Okay, the second round of courtesy of the floor. Anybody interested in addressing the board, please come to the podium. State your name.
Who signed up first?
Are we gonna go with the way it is there?
Yeah, who signed up first?
Okay, we do have 2 people signed up.
For this part? I didn't think we signed up for this.
They don't have to be.
You don't have to be, but these people signed up. I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Lily Langlois.
Lily Langlois.
Lily.
Dr. Lily Langlois, Cummings Township. So everything's been quiet since the May meeting when you discussed a motion to have a hearing, but never really anything ever established. Then 2 more meetings, silence. Today's meeting, silence. Not even on the agenda, but we're gonna have a public hearing to display all the facts to the board members and the public, but we've been kept in the dark. Is everything happening behind closed doors? I hope all of the information is gathered before the hearing. I understand there's no vote, but let me just quote the Sun Gazette newspaper from last week. The lawmakers passed a nearly $48 billion budget 2 weeks late. I'm sure you're all aware of this. Quote, this budget makes one of the most historic investments in what is our most valuable resources, and that is our children. For public schools, the legislation delivers about $900 million more for instruction and special education, about a 9% increase, plus hundreds of millions more in new subsidies for school construction and tuition to private and cyber charter schools. A substantial portion of the aid, about $526 million, is designated to represent the first step in responding to a court decision that found the state system of school funding violates the constitutional rights of students in poorer districts, end quote. I believe our district is one of those. Mr. Enders, is there any comment? I mean, the budget was just passed weeks ago. Are you gonna know by the August 5th hearing how the money will be dispersed and how that changes from the previous year? I mean, the board just voted a little over 12 months ago to keep the school open, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a hearing to close it? I hope you're forthcoming with everything and you have all your facts, including the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandy Crothers.
Brandy Crothers, Porter Township. I'd like to discuss the push for closure of Salisbury Elementary. Why is it that this school's always on the chopping block? Why is school closure the seemingly go-to for you? Why is our children's education and emotional stability always last on your list? You have ridiculous expectations for our littles to just continuously bounce them around like and expect them to adjust to your whirlwind changes. Just because they're more adaptable than you seem to be doesn't give you the right to continuously test their limits. Increasing their travel times to and from school, making much longer learning days, children being bounced back and forth between schools, stripping them of their comfort and sense of home, causing emotional stress. These are our children, and you're toying with, and honestly, as parents, we're sick of our children's needs not being put first. If you want changes, you are the adults elected and responsible for doing what is best for our children. They come before your agendas. You wanted ideas to make up the money you needed, sell the admin building, displace yourselves rather than our children who have no say in it? How many other districts have their board and staff spread out throughout the schools and they're just fine? What about your plan to subdivide the lots in Avis, which you did discuss? And the money from the CD or bond that you just cashed in, I wasn't here for that one, but you got money for that as well. Don't tell us that you have no alternatives other than to close a school that is ranked much higher than Jersey Shore Elementary. This is supposed to have been a dead subject, per Dr. Ulmer's words after the last vote last year. Per the agenda, the few new board members, apparently closing schools is not, it doesn't fix the problem. Here we are attempting to close yet another school. Fix the problem, don't create more. Where are we going to be when all schools are closed except for our one and enrollment spikes? It's going to be costly build-ons for the taxpayers that everybody keeps using the taxpayers' tax increases as why they don't want to keep the school open. But you're just putting ourselves into this position of where we're going to have to build. We're going to have to build on if that happens. And I'm tired of my children being bounced around like they are not important. And as I know many other students are, many other parents are. So you're here for our students, you're here for our children. You're not just here for your agendas. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you keeping going?
Up there.
No, I'm new to this job.
Nobody
Anyone
has
else?
signed up.
No one else has signed up, right?
Ray Beerley, Pyatt Township. I find it shocking that a solicitor recommends to the board president not to respond to questions, not to have a conversation with the taxpayer. If you go to board policy and read the responsibilities for board members, it is your responsibility to communicate with your constituents. It is your responsibility to keep constituents informed. It is your responsibility to explain complex things like a hearing for school closure that people have never experienced and have to make a decision whether they want to attend, how they are going to speak, what the process actually is, and that we sit there mute and tell the public, well, you're just going to have to show up to find out. I taught biology for 26 years. It was a Keystone Trigger course. There was a major exam that those kids had to take at the end of the year. Can you imagine if they or their parents had come to me and say, explain to me what this biology Keystone exam is, and I said, well, you're just going to have to show up and find out. This is disgraceful. This attitude that you are not responsive to the people in this school district who only ask a question so that we could all be well informed. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll close courtesy of the floor. Have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
You don't have to do that, just say
No, I
adjourn.
gotta do that, meeting closed.